Hello and welcome to episode 1 of a new series here on the channel. We're going to call it Apocalypse Mode. Series 21. Let's talk about why we're going to call it Apocalypse Mode. New game, Iron Teeth. And we're going to play on the same map that I used for the most recent water beavers. Lemon Canyon, which has been slightly modified to work with the vanilla factions and Update 6. And here's where it gets fun, folks. We're going to start with the hard settings and go to Customize. And here's what we're going to do. Food consumption, doubled. Water consumption, not 2,000, doubled. Starting food, 100. And I'm going to go ahead and do starting water 100 as well. And here's where stuff gets really, really interesting. We're going to start with the temperate weather duration of 7 to 14 days. So anytime it's not a bad tide or a drought, this is the range of time that it's going to give us the temperate conditions. But when we go to droughts, friends, it's about to get nonsense in here. Remember, the hard setting is 15 to 30. Normal is, I believe, 5 to 9 days for droughts. The minimum duration of a drought after the handicap is going to be 30 days, and the maximum is going to be 100 days. Our handicap is going to be 10% for 10 cycles, and what that means is that for the first 10 cycles, the drought duration is going to be 10% of this range. So it's going to be between 3 and 10 days, and as it gets closer and closer to the end of then it's going to keep going up. So it gives us a chance. It gives us a chance to get things situated before it goes completely, truly apocalyptic. And of course, bad tides as well. Cycles without a bad tide, we're going to keep at 3. The bad tide chance, I'm going to raise to 50%. So that means that every time we roll the end of a season, it's going to have a 50% chance of being a drought or a 50% chance of being a bad tide versus 40% chance of being a bad tide normally on hard mode, which is the same on easy and normal as well. So bad tide duration, as you might have guessed, going to go from 30 to 100 as opposed to 15 to 30. And the bad tide duration handicap, I'm going to also put at 10%, but I'm only going to have that be for 5 cycles instead of 10. Injury chance, we are going to double to 200%. And building refund rate, we're going to put at 50. So, if I can hit the 0 key, it's going to hopefully incentivize us to make more careful building choices because you're not going to be able to retrieve as many resources once you end up demolishing stuff. So, I can't really imagine a harder way to play the game than this. We've done 49-day droughts before a long time ago, and people have been asking me to have the harder stuff, and we haven't done hard mode in a long time. So let's go ahead and get going. All right, and here we are once again. We're going to call this Beaverburg 21 because this is the 21st series in the game. And here come the beavers. Standard 8 adults, 4 kids. Let's go ahead and hit pause and take a look at the map. So it is slightly different from the water beaver one we just finished the other day. And basically the changes that were made for this for Update 6 were to take advantage of the new terrain stuff. Like back here we've got all these lovely natural overhangs. And of course, since we are not playing the water beaver mod, we don't have access to the specific trees and crops. But this refined version of the map does have some mangroves down in the water for us to start. And there's different things throughout the map. You're going to remember, of course, our 3 water sources here. And then over here we have this area that we never ended up building in. But there are some crops scattered around. We've got kohlrabies over here, and I know there are some sunflowers elsewhere. I haven't actually found them yet, but that's what the description on the workshop said about this. And, you know, if you watch the water beaver playthrough, you're going to remember that this whole area back here is all bad water nastiness with the exception of these 3 things right here. So these 2 underground ruins are the only underground ruins on the map. So if we want to have a chance late game at actually making metal, we're going to have to conquer the tops of these things and make sure we have a good infrastructure set up. But unlike the Update 5 version for the water beavers, you're going to notice that there's a lot of these slopes in here. So that does make it a little bit more accessible for the vertical building, but we do still have the burden of trying to climb up into these different plateaus and stuff. We do have a couple of these slopes here, but obviously they're not all completely connected. But yeah, the heart and soul of the map is still here. even though it has been changed a little bit, it should still be a very, very hard map, regardless of the fact that we have the ability to now have 100-day droughts. Am I insane? Probably. But the amount of people that have been asking for hard mode for the past couple months, I think either that means you guys really want to see suffering, or you guys are just tired of watching normal mode. But hey, why not? If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing, remember? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep this pause because you know what's coming. You know what's coming. We absolutely have to be ready. Let's talk about strategy a little bit. So this map, and the water beavers, one of the reasons it's so hard in that mod is because we don't have access to levees and floodgates and stuff. Well, technically we do in that mod, but it's a lot different. Vanilla Timberborn, more or less, we are playing with some mods, namely ladders. Let's see, we've got flywheels. And then over in Wellbeing, we have the beloved frog statue mod. And in decorations, we do have the big signs. So there's probably a couple other things. I think I have simple floodgate control in here as well. And there might be a couple more. But that's basically the gist of what's actually going to be affecting the playthrough here. So we have the ability, we have these giant canyons, right? We have the ability to dam them up and create enormous natural reservoirs without really building that much stuff. But there's always a but. Remember, we can have 100-day bad tides. So we're going to be very heavily incentivized very early to develop bad tide diversion strategies, which of course usually consist of blowing a channel and then dumping the water off the map, which in this specific map is not that hard to do. But the way this is set up, it's still going to take a really long time for us to be able to do that. Because remember, we start down here in the canyon, and if we want to get up here, we're going to have to work our way up there. Because there's really no way, without just building a giant ladder all the way up here, to be able to do that. And remember, ladders cost 300 science, of which we have none. And they also take the planks and all that. It's not as hard as the water beavers, but there is still a little bit of a barrier to get there. And also, remember, our beavers are twice as hungry and twice as thirsty as they otherwise would be. So we are really, really going to have to get our stuff figured out quick. So, let's go ahead. Just start with the path here. And we do have some kohlrabis scattered around. And I know there's sunflowers somewhere. I just haven't found them yet. So by the time we get to them, they're probably going to be dead. But we do have some food on the ground with the kohlrabis and the blueberries. And then, of course, the mangrove trees, some of which already have the actual fruits on them. Some of them don't. Are accessible. We do have these slopes here. So early game food sources for, 12 beavers that are very hungry and very thirsty are not going to be impossible for us to take care of. We just have to be careful. We just have to be careful and not make rash decisions. So we'll see what we can get into. I'm going to go ahead and put in a gatherer flag just right here, which will be able to reach... oh, actually, there's a slope here. I don't remember that being there, but we can reach a couple of these guys. So I'll tell you what. Since this is right here, I wonder, can I get... Okay, so that's actually not going to make a difference unless I bring it over here. All right, well, if I put it here, it's still going to be able to reach pretty much everything except these guys. So we're actually going to do that. Let's get that situated and cross that over there. I'm going to unpause, but we're staying on single speed right now. We also have, thankfully, some oak trees right here around what our starting area is. So that's going to give us a chance to do some lumberjacking, which I'll go ahead and just... Well, I guess I might as well put right here. Get them working on that. And it's a good thing that we started with some water because, again, these are very hungry and very thirsty beavers. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be impossible. We just have to plan, and we can't get a little too much over our skis, if that makes sense. So, water pump, in we go. Remember, this is a single tile deep thing right here. We should probably, actually mark these trees for cutting. That might be a helpful thing. If you remember anything about this map from the Water Beaver playthrough, you're going to remember there's trees absolutely everywhere. So we're not going to lose any sleep. I can't even click right. Not going to lose any sleep over keeping trees versus cutting them down. We're just going to cut them down because, again, There are trees absolutely everywhere. And we'll be able to plant them too, so not going to have any reason to worry. And having these oak trees right at the start is really, really nice. Because, of course, they are 8 logs apiece versus, you know, most maps you start out, you'd have some birch trees and a couple pines. But we're going to be set early game for wood without really having to go anywhere else. But keep in mind, after a couple cycles, it's going to be an absolute apocalyptic nightmare here. Hence, apocalypse mode. So, they're going to, very, very first thing, get this deep water pump going. And we're also going to put in a farmhouse. As soon as I can actually get one to sit in here, right? I do want to have space for it. But I haven't really done a great job of laying stuff out early game. That is going to go there, and I am going to move the lumberjack flag to this other side. Once we have, you know, everything ready to go. See, look at this. We're already down to 92 water, and it's not even the end of the first day because, again, all these beavers are super thirsty. That's 4 water and 4 food per day, and we have 12 of them. So every single day, we have 48 consumption of each. So it is absolutely paramount that we get this up and running as fast as possible, which is why we're still in single speed. All right. But the log thing, farmhouse, yeah. We need logs for the farmhouse. That's what my beard is trying to say. Don't always do a good job of that. But they'll be able to grab these kohlrabis off the ground, and then we'll be able to plant kohlrabis as well. Which, you know, we don't have the processing yet. We're just going to be absolute kohlrabi fiends for quite some time, most likely. But again, it's all about making sure that we don't make any heinous mistakes when it comes to resource allocation and gathering and all of that. But yeah, gonna take a little bit of time to get this stuff all situated here. We've got Nicholas in our deep water pump, pumping our water here. And then hopefully pretty soon they can get this farmhouse constructed. We, of course, are going to need additional deep water pumps, which we will continue building just as soon as we have the ability to have a decent spot to place it. Again, this map has been modified from the version that I'm used to, so it's not really going to work exactly the same as it did in the Water Beaver playthrough. We're just going to have to keep an eye on how stuff is developing here. So again, I'm building 3 of these because our consumption is going to be so much higher. Probably don't need them for, you know, having 12 beavers, but it is going to be so much better to be over-prepared. Believe me, or this is going to be a short series. Like, it's a very high likelihood that we cannot complete this, but I wanted to do it anyway, because it's been a really long time since I've done something super, extremely, ultra challenging in this game. And you guys have been asking so much. So we'll go ahead and put this in triple speed through the duration of day 1. And see what we are going to see happen next. I think we're probably going to have another gatherer flag just because of the insane rate of consumption of food that we've got going on here. So that's going to be a whole thing. Oh, that's right. I have to move this. There we go. Put that path in place. Back down to single speed. So now we'll be able to harvest all of these kohlrabis as well as planting them. Probably should go ahead and get some more in the ground because we do still have these berries ready to go for some time. Not for all of time, but for some time. And of course those bushes are going to grow in as well. Before that happens though, we probably want to go ahead and stake our claim to some pathing here. Because you know those are going to come in and do whatever they want. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this down here just so we have something that can connect and the berries can't grow past, because we really don't want to remove any of these things. We're going to need them. Because remember, the iron teeth have to have berries to breed in the breeding pods with the nightmare fuel wrinkly beaver spawn in there. So just keep that in mind. Now we have 1 unemployed beaver. We're still working on getting these deep water pumps up and running, and for the time being, I'm not going to probably build too much else. We're not going to need to worry about a forester for quite some time because we have so many trees immediately accessible to us. So that, thankfully, is going to take a little bit of a load off our plate. But we still need to make sure we're doing everything we can to start stockpiling food and making that first step toward actually breeding. So, we can't get away with having basically no berries anymore, like I usually do with my playthroughs, because again, they could be very good emergency food, and we are going to have the breeding be consistent unless we want to have a very, very small population, which is going to keep us that much closer to death as a colony. See, look at these guys. They're already hungry, already thirsty, even though there's, well, for right now, plenty to eat, plenty to drink. So I am going to, we're not going to put on triple speed. I'm going to put on double speed because, you know, we're going to run out of some time here in the video for not getting stuff done if it just goes slowly all the time. But it is nice to have these mangroves ready to go and to have some kohlrabies already on the map, getting harvested, well, I think they're eating them pretty much as soon as they're getting harvested. So we're going to go ahead. We don't really have very many logs being stored, or none at all actually, because they're still building this third water pump. But very soon, we're going to want to go ahead and put in some tanks to store all of that fun stuff. I'm going to end up moving this lumberjack flag again, but I haven't quite decided where yet. Probably is going to make sense to put it somewhere closer to maybe here-ish. But of course, we still have to be able to walk through here, and they're going to be getting these kohlrabies out of the way. Planting some more stuff here, as one does. Keeping a little bit of room up against the river here in case we need to put some more of these pumps in. But again, we have to have storage for water, or we're going to be in some deep stuff. So go ahead and put 3 of those in. Select water storage. And here's the funny part, is since they consume 4 water per day, this small tank that has a capacity of 30, yeah, this isn't even 1 day's worth of water for the beavers we currently have now. Not even the beavers who are adults right now. So keep that in mind. It's gonna be rough. I'm probably gonna regret having set the settings this high, but you know what they say. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing. That's certainly what we're doing here. So, again, we have some of this food coming in, kohlrabies and mangroves. The mangrove trees will begin to spread on their own. So before that happens, I'm going to put a path in. I'm actually going to run that this way. And by this way, I mean this way. Because we want the mangroves to be pretty much everywhere we can as soon as we can, because when that first bad tide comes in, they're pretty much all going to die. We want to be able to make sure that we can take advantage of them while they exist. So having the path here means that we're not going to get blocked in by them without having to delete anything. And hopefully, we can manage to do something about it. Now, another thing I wanted to remind you guys about with this map is... Oh, is it not here? Okay, well, I guess that's fair. The earlier version of this map had a negative water source over here. So unless it's been relocated, then that might be different. We got blockages here. We've got that here. Where's the water source from over here now? Because this is substantially... Is this in the corner here? All right, I'm going to go into dev mode just so I can look at the details on this real quick. Okay, so this is a 0.75 strength water source. Keep this paused so I don't accidentally do anything. These are all blockages. That's a blockage. I thought for sure... Well, that's a little disappointing if that's actually gone. I guess I should have checked before I started making a video on it. Aha! Aha, here it is. Here it is. -1 strength water source. So there is a drain here. It just got relocated. In the original version of the map, it's over here. But this will drain any liquid that's in here, good water or bad water, at a greater strength than this spits it out. So chew on that one. That's another blockage. And then I think that's probably it for over here. Then, of course, I did say before we have these 3. These are set to 0.75. All of those. Everything else is just bad water, bad news until you get over here. And this is a strong one. That's set to 2. That's set to 2. And that's set to 2. So this is actually a pretty good way of getting water. And a pretty good way of getting bad water during a bad tide. So we really want to make sure that we're taking advantage of this stuff. But we have to get there first. When it becomes time for the bad tide, though, boy, you better be ready. Because it's gonna be something else. And of course, right here, we've got another weaker water source. I think that's just the only one by itself. Yeah, not another drain on this one that's just pours out into there. So, again, just wanted to show you that we did have the negative water source. I'm going to come out of dev mode. And now we're back in normal mode. Put on that a double speed once again. And let's go ahead and make sure that we're doing the best we can here to line everything up. We do have a kohlrabi. And now we actually have 60 water storage, soon to be 90. So we can start stockpiling that. And I do have a beaver that is not employed. Which is... Oh, because they keep growing up. That's right. Alright, I'm going to start... Now, you have to be careful early game with the iron teeth because the breeding can get out of hand really quickly and completely drain all of your resources. But we have to start breeding the beavers. We absolutely have to start. We can't wait. Because if we forget and we have beavers start to die off, we're going to be in a absolute disaster mode for the purposes of employment. So just for right now, I'm going to put that there because that tile is accessible. They're going to keep building this tank, and we're going to need to just keep putting in these small tanks. Remember, we can't make the medium tanks without gears or planks, which we are not currently making. And it is much more important to have food and water stored than it is to say, oh, well, I'm going to do research. Because remember, we have plenty of time for research when we have these 100-day droughts. Oh, I got to be insane for doing this. Oh, we also have the pantry mod, which Battery Smooth, Beard Booster, longtime contributor to the channel, has put together. We are going to be using it, so I'm actually going to build that first. Because we do have a couple of these different foods coming in. It's a nice, compact, and quick way to get some good food storage without having a lot of capacity. But it's going to give us a lot of opportunities to just store the different types of food without having to worry about building giant warehouses or whatever. Looks like we've got lag a little bit. But we've got the ability to get this path connected, which we'll go ahead and do. They can reach pretty much all the kohlrabis that are in here. So we're going to let that continue to be a thing once they get everything else taken care of. And yeah, like I said, capacity is the name of the game, folks. So we're just going to be spamming these things. Don't worry, we're going to make it look nicer later. It's all hands on deck. And I'm not even joking. The 100-day bad tides, 100-day droughts. That first one hits and we're not ready, it's over. It's curtains. Shortest playthrough series on my channel in history. So I'd like to keep this one going at least long enough to see that first 100-day drought bad tide and hopefully survive it. But like I said, apocalypse mode takes no prisoners. So actually, you know what we can do is we can just straighten this one out completely. Of course, once this leftover oak is taken care of, that's going to be much more easily accessible for us. And get these guys through the rest of the night here. Alright, day 5. Day 5. So we are storing water. Again, trying to build capacity. The pantry is open, and it's got storage space for every type of food we can make. For right now, though, the only things we can harvest are kohlrabis. And then some of those mangrove fruits. You'll notice there's not any storage here for berries. So we will need to construct that independently. Just for right now, I'm going to put in, I guess, yeah, might as well. Put a small warehouse in, but I'm going to actually leave this on this side. Put that in for the berries. I have to remember where all these different options are. So berries there. We do have our very first beaver baby brewing in the breeding pod. That's a whole lot of bees. Of course, planting more kohlrabis. And then I think it's going to be wise for us. I know I keep moving. I keep moving this thing. Got lumberjack flag there, lumberjack flag there. I'm going to get rid of this one And I'm going to have this come around this way here, just so we have space to start putting in either barracks or other storages as time and space warrant. The rest of the space around here, of course, we have all these blueberry bushes. We're not going to probably keep all of those as blueberry bushes, but we do want to make sure that we are growing whatever we can. And of course, this is in range, so we're going to make use of the space. It's ugly, yes. It is hideous. But it's about survival first and stuff looking good second. Yeah, they're just absolutely tearing through all of our food storage here. And that's going to be the very first of the berries that are going to be gone away here. So we're going to have to get our food situation bolstered in a hurry here. Thankfully, the kohlrabies exist, and they can be planted and can be harvested. And we actually have 2 unemployed beavers, so let's go ahead and put in a second one of these farmhouses. I think probably is going to make sense to go ahead and put another one up here, get this connected. Because we've got lots of space we can use for growing. We've got lots of space we can use for other stuff, too. But it's all going to depend on, you know what? I'm just going to have to keep adding more and more of these trees here before we get too comfy. You know how it goes. Anything that looks like a tree, gotta click. I'm not going to just click and drag on all of this stuff, because that gets to be very annoying to keep up with. Except these, you know, all these dead trees, they're not going to grow back, so go ahead and get those guys out of there. Just taking whatever we can take. You can see the mangroves are actually spreading pretty nicely here. Am I going to be able to get this? Ooh, nope, not quite. So that's unfortunately going to have to remain only accessible probably through this area over here. But the water storage continues to grow. Food storage, it's going to take some time to get that caught up. But hopefully, second farmhouse, as soon as that's able to get taken care of, is going to be a much, much better thing. Yeah, so now we have... Oh, we... Now, we have enough water storage. But it seems the beavers' thirst meter falls a lot quicker when they consume twice as much, so... Hopefully that doesn't end up being an enormous problem. I'm thinking it might be. We're going to see. We're going to see what happens. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put another lumberjack flag up here, because we do have enough of these guys that are actually, you know, operating for now at some sort of tolerable level of well-being that it makes sense to be taking advantage of it. So this right here is going to be able to reach the rest of these berries, and I guess technically these mangrove fruits. It's not an ideal situation, but again, it's early game. Nothing is going to look fantastic in early game. It just isn't going to happen. The most important thing is to get stuff actually, you know, prepared for the chaos that's to come. Because for right now, nobody's hungry, nobody's thirsty. But we're out. We are out of early game food. So now these guys are going to be in harvest priority mode. And if this one ever gets built, they're going to be in harvest priority mode too. There we go. So now we got twice as many beavers taking care of these kohlrabies. Actually, you know what? Once they start harvesting a decent bit of these, and I guess I can plug this back into planting. Remember, our normal cycle, temperate cycle, is ranged between 7 and 14 days. So, in theory, it's possible for us tomorrow in-game, on day 8, to get that drought warning. We're not going to have bad tides for the first, what did I say it was, 3 cycles? So, at least we have that. But, there's definitely an all-hands-on-deck type of situation. We can start growing the rest of the stuff, but remember that has to have processing done with stuff that requires power. And the iron teeth do have the large power wheel. Some of you may have other names for it. or they have the compact water wheel. This map does not have a hugely fast water flow down here. It might just look like that because we're in triple speed, which again I said it wasn't going to do, so I guess I'll have to back that off. Yeah, as soon as that gets to day 9, or day 8, I can't read. And that takes 100 logs, which is probably going to be the downfall here. But again, when we get to that drought, the compact water wheel's not really going to do much, and it only outputs 60 HP, and it costs 25 logs. So you multiply that by 4, and you know, hey, that's math. That's 240. But this, for 4 times the amount of logs, is 300. Now, it can go faster. The compact water wheel can do more power output than 60. That's just the baseline. But I think for what we're wanting to do, we're going to probably end up with a large power wheel just employing all of these beavers. So this breeding pod is up and running. Almost done. So again, could possibly be a mistake, but we have to have bodies. We have to have bodies to run all this stuff, and we have to be able to feed them. So it very quickly is going to turn into something we're going to really, really need to keep track of. They're not using the pantry either, which is interesting. So I hope it's not bugged. That would be a shame. So I guess it's probably time to go ahead and build the medium warehouse, and then, of course, stock the kohlrabis there. And this farmhouse up here is going to have the opportunity to grow some of its own stuff. So again, early game, the kohlrabis aren't really... They're not really a good crop, but they don't require any extra processing. Whereas the cassava, if we take a look in our fermenter, doesn't require oil, but it does require power. All that being said, I'm still going to start growing some because, again, we're going to need it. We're absolutely going to need it. But it's going to be one of those things where it's going to have to be augmented by the growing of some kohlrabis, which we will pepper in various locations, and then I get the rest of that brought in. Hopefully, we're going to have water still by the time these cassavas are done, because remember, it's day 8, and while we can have a temperate cycle that lasts up to day 14, it's not guaranteed. It's always randomly selected, so that's going to be a thing. As always, we have the option of building a dam to, well, hold water in place, but that's going to be a big problem once we have our bad tides come in. All that being said, though, I do think it's going to be smart for us to have a dam. So I'm going to go ahead and put those right there, because remember, we not even going to be possible to have a bad tide until cycle 4, the end of cycle 4. So that's quite a ways away from now. All right, now let's see. I guess might as well go ahead and put in a couple more of these small tanks, because remember, if water is in a tank, it cannot evaporate. If it is in a stream or a lake, it can evaporate. And we are going to have a whole lot, and I mean a whole lot, of water storage. Now, if we could keep the kohlrabis in storage long enough to actually need storage, that would be nice, but you know how this goes. Set to planting, set to harvesting. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on planting so we can get the rest of those put in. We got berries continuing to come in. Yeah, these guys are hungry. They're fiends. Like, they willingly work until they're just absolutely starving. But it gives you that -10 debuff, so then they work a whole lot slower. This may end up being a problem. I didn't actually, I didn't consider that increasing the consumption that much was going to also cause this negative well-being. So I guess that makes it even more of an apocalypse mode. Go ahead and flame me in the comments. I actually quite enjoy some of that stuff, as long as we're polite. So we're gonna lower the working hours. Let's say 12. Sometimes you guys get on to me for having the beavers work too much. But I think if they have time to recharge, and they have time to eat, most importantly, then that's going to be something we can actually take advantage of. All right, it's probably about time. Yeah, see, there they go again. Probably about time to build a barracks, so you know they don't all just sit there sleeping on the ground like miserable ground sleeping beavers. Again, super unoptimal layout, but we are in trying to get this survival mode survived mode. Wow, that's not where that was supposed to go at all. Alright, let's, well, you know, actually, no, that was fine, because I can put another set of... Why did I even do that? I can put another set of these tanks over there. As long as we can keep them happy, then we're going to be in okay shape. But that -10, that debuff for the hunger and the thirst is really, really going to be hard. Alright, triple speed through the rest of this night here. The water storage situation has been absolutely fine. The food is what concerns me. Because, you know, the kohlrabi situation's not going to be adequate forever. It's absolutely not. And remember, we haven't even done any scientific research yet, which is going to be an interesting problem. Well, I'm not for a little while, because the fermenter does not require planks. Neither does the large power wheel. It just has an absolutely crazy amount of resources required. So we're going to have to see what happens here, folks. Thankfully, we do have some cassava that's about 25% of the way done. Yep, that one actually is 25. So we're going to have a chance. We're going to have a chance to get something accomplished here. The dam is going to be going in, so that's going to be great for us to have early on. But we need to have a place where we can actually do industrial stuff. So here they go. Here they go thirsty again. So get your drink. I guess that kind of limits the amount of stuff we can actually do if they're going to be just constantly thirsty all the time. Oh, the joys of saying, I want to do something hard, and then the hard thing shows up and you're like, oh, this is hard. Well, like, you picked it. This is, you can't take the heat. Stay out of the kitchen, right? And then sometimes you set the kitchen on fire for fun. Don't do that. For the record, I need to make it abundantly clear that that was a joke, and I'm not going to endorse that. But I'm going to have to figure this out. Where am I going to put... I guess for right now, this is going to have to go here, and then this fermenter is going to have to go here, because those are actually pretty easy to get in and out of. I'm going to utilize... I'm going to utilize paths as a defense mechanism against these berry bushes. It might sound stupid, but you know, it's going to become a real problem, and I do not ever want to get rid of these until I have a very, very stable food supply, which we don't, not yet. Because remember, all of these beavers. Okay, here's our drought warning. It's day 11. All of these beavers, as soon as they get even a tiny bit hungry, just say, oh, I don't want to work anymore, so... And then everything becomes really, 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 really slow. And then it turns into an absolute disaster. But hey, I named this apocalypse mode for a reason. So hopefully, they can handle all the harvesting here. Turn this guy on harvesting mode, and keep these beavers as fed as possible. Also, could possibly create some interesting district dynamics if they really do have such a low tolerance for being hungry or being thirsty at the 200%. We're going to see what happens, folks. But, like I said, dam going in is going to be good. And then, of course, they're going to start building the large power wheel and the fermenter and all of that fun stuff. But it is just aggressively paramount that we get as much of our food situation as under control as we possibly can. To that end, I mean, we have so much water. I'm gonna actually deprioritize, not all of them, but I'm gonna deprioritize this one water pump so we can make sure we have the beavers actually working in the farmhouse, working in the... Oh, you know what? We haven't renamed this. Beaverberg 21. Yeah, the amount of not farming that's occurring is actually incredibly concerning. Because they decide they're hungry, and then immediately immediately half the working speed. So I think, I mean, we're going to have to, I guess I'm going to have to just go back up to 16 hours. We're going to have to put in another farmhouse because they are not going to be able to do all of this. Let's make that a turbo priority. I mean, and we don't even have the food harvested either. Don't even have it harvested. So that's like every single time we start a new day, it's going to turn into, well, that. But then there's the added drama of this dam's not complete. And we only have 2 days to do it. But I decided that the farmhouse was really important. But if the dam's not complete, then the crops are going to dry out. And then we're really going to be screwed. So, hopefully, they can get the rest of this stuff taken care of. I guess I can triple speed this because we already have this all sorted here. But yeah, that debuff is absolutely killer. That is just, well, apocalyptically bad, I guess we could say. Alright, so let's prioritize this. Have these guys prioritized for harvesting so they can grab these kohlrabies so we can at least try to keep them fed. Because otherwise, don't stand a chance. We do have 4 logs, 6 logs. Okay, they're going to be fine on the dam. And as long as we can keep some food in stock here, we're going to be in okay shape. 70% of the way through the cassavas here. I mean, we have logs available. But, it's just, it's like a race against time, man. It's hard. Well, I mean, I literally chose this, so I guess I can't complain. I wonder if this breeding pod's going to be able to finish, because it doesn't have any berries. But, bushes don't either, so. We are probably pretty firmly in berries can no longer be relied upon territory because these have all been depleted. But all we have to do is just keep even a couple kohlrabies in stock so that, you know, the beavers can actually eat them. And as long as we can finish the dam, which, you know, the way that this is going, I don't know. We have 5 vacancies because of all the things we've built here. I'm going to, I think, well, if they can get this finished, which, oh, you know what? All right, I paused the game for a reason. We have, it's 0.3 days left. This needs 4 more logs, and they're done with working for the day. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the emergency super long workday, and I'm going to have to bring in everybody to the district center. And we do have some food stored up, so that's good. Everybody works. Everybody finishes the dam because we are going to be toast if this isn't done. All right, there we go. We finished the dam. Everybody can go to bed. A-okay. All right, how long is our first handicapped drought going to be? Remember, the base duration is 30 to 100 days. And we're on a handicap. But it still could be substantial. Okay, first drought, 3 days, which is 10% of 30, which is the handicap duration, like, lowest possible number. So, definitely could be worse. Could be a whole lot worse. But the amount of water we have stored right now is enough to get... Oh, somebody died of hunger. Well, that was quick. Okay, hold on. All right, we're gonna hit pause. So I guess, see, I didn't take this into account. Oh, you're stupid. Well, yeah, that's probably true. I guess the 200% hunger also makes it possible for them to die quicker. I just, in my infinite wisdom, which in this case infinity means 0, I figured the 200% hunger, 200% food requirement would just mean they wanted to eat more. Not that they would die faster. Because remember, it's only been 14 days and we haven't been out of food. So, oh, I can see the comments now. It fuels me. Hey, you wanted it, you're going to get it. We've had this discussion. It's just the way it goes, folks. It's the way it goes. But I'm going to go ahead, since we aren't actually, you know, doing much of anything with building, except for, you know, building the large power wheel and the fermenter and everything. I think it's more important to have the beavers working on getting the food. Even though this is growing, it's fine. We can store it. We don't necessarily have to be making anything with the cassava yet, as long as we have access to it. While they can work on everything else, we just cannot run out of food. But these guys are so hungry. It's unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable how hungry they get and how quick they get. You're the one that put it on 200%. Yeah, I know. Look, it's fine. We're learning together. If it fails, it fails. But it fails unedited. No takebacks. That's how this always goes. Alright, now what? That's the, oh, we don't have storage space for logs. Well, we haven't really needed it, so... I suppose... I can just put in a little small industrial pile here. Because we do still have to have them. They haven't cut all these down anyway, so I guess we're fine. Make sure that I have these guys all marked for cutting, because we don't care about keeping the pine resin. Yeah, I'll just drag. I was going to try to avoid that, but you know how it goes. Best laid plans go to waste and all that. Some of these saplings I haven't even marked yet. This is now a bush that used to be a tree. Well, the good news is, we're not out of food. We just have to make sure these beavers eat, and we have to make sure they don't die of drama queen hunger after 0.3 seconds of not eating anything. Which may be easier said than done. But the breeding pods are both active. Ooh, at the same time, I don't know if I like that, because one of those did get delayed. But we are harvesting raw cassava, ready to go for whenever we have our fermenter and our large power wheel up and running, which, as a reminder, we have no wood because we have very hungry and thirsty beavers who don't want to work anymore because they're hungry and thirsty. Hopefully, this comically high number of farming beavers for a population of 13 can actually make it happen. The barracks also, notably, have not yet been constructed because they're busy building all these water tanks for all this water that we definitely need to be pumping. So I'm gonna lower the priority on this water tank just as soon as I get to halfway, of course. And you know, I think, wow, yeah, see, this just absolutely tanks our average well-being so fast. Just ridiculously quickly. There's still nothing in the pantry. What's up with that? Like, I know this works because we have it in our other playthrough. So maybe it is a good thing for us to build the barracks first, because that's going to have the well-being, at least at a minimum, not at -3 to start. Give ourselves a fighting chance. Yeah, the rest of this, just forget it. we're not even close to there yet. So again, as long as they can stay fed, then we have a chance. If they can't, then, well, it was nice knowing you, because this isn't going to last very long otherwise. Is there anyone else I can take off? I guess I can deprioritize this water pump as well. Because, again, we have enough to get by on. And assuming there's not a -50% working speed debuff, this water pump every hour will give us 3 drops of water, which is almost enough for 1 beaver for 1 day. So assuming a 16-hour workday, then this could support, I don't know, 13 beavers-ish. Obviously, it's not always going to be 16 hours because Nicholas here has to go back and forth and, you know, pull himself out of sleeping on the ground. Well, not sleeping in the kohlrabi's at least, so that's something. Like I said, hard. Not going to be easy. Looks like we've got another adult beaver here. Promising. Promising. But we just got to be able to get a handle on our food production. And I think we might be okay as long as we can keep this high enough to where it doesn't... See, they immediately get super hungry halfway through the workday. And then it's that just massive, massive debuff until they eat again. Alright, so the barracks is almost done. Almost! I really hope they can get this finished before the before the end of this episode, or else that's just going to not be ideal. Well, I mean it's 16 hours, so they can do a little bit the next day. But friends, it is looking at my OBS counter. It says 52 minutes. It's going to be a little bit shorter when I put this in Premiere and then chop off the loading screen and all that. But yeah, there you have it, folks. Cycle 2, Day 1, in this absolute insane asylum of a playthrough here. So, let me know. Do you like the idea of the 100-day droughts? Do you think I'm completely insane? The answer to those questions could possibly both be yes. But I very, very much appreciate your feedback. I always read all the comments. Can't reply to everybody. But I do always read all of them. And I take your suggestions. It's a Let's Play, not a Watch Me Play. So if you have ideas that you would like us to do, please always leave those in the comments. Again, I can't do everything people ask. And it doesn't always make sense to do stuff that people ask. But I do always read the comments, and I always take your ideas into consideration when I'm deciding what we're actually going to be doing. So please always feel free to leave that. I'm going to just go ahead and snipe these 2 pieces of path in here so I can, you know, still put in some more of these fermenters as we get there. But the beavers have housing now. And our base well-being, well, once the beavers can actually get in there, the 10 of them who will be able to, will no longer be -3. And now the big construction project is the large power wheel, so I can have those beavers earn their berries, I guess you could say, by walking around in a circle so they can ferment cassavas that they can then later eat themselves. But I think it's possible for us to actually have some degree of success on this playthrough. It's just going to be really hard. So again, thanks for being here. Beard Boosters, thank you very much for supporting the channel as well, making it possible to try the insanity of 100-day droughts. This series could go belly up the next episode if I mismanage stuff. That's just the way it goes. But I don't take stuff out unless I cough or whatever, and I don't start over. There's no quitting here. So we're in it for the long haul, whether that long haul is 1 more episode, or it's 10 more, or it's 20 more if we manage to figure it out. You guys make it possible, so I'm very thankful that we get to spend this time together. Have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. Stay safe, have fun, and I guess unlike these beavers, stay fed and stay watered. We'll see you in the next one of this series on Thursday. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.